He signed Discharge mid-crash under another name. Mistake? Or was he hiding something?
The monitor didn't just beep. It stuttered, like it was struggling to decide whether I was still alive. Beep, 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 and then a sharp drop. A nurse's voice cut through the room. She's crashing. Have you ever been fully awake, but completely trapped? Because I was. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. I could hear everything. Every footstep, every breath, every shift in tone. But my body? Nothing. Not my hands. Not my legs. Not even my voice. I tried to move just a finger, anything, but it was like my body didn't belong to me anymore. And then I heard something that didn't make sense. Paper. A pen. A slow, deliberate scratch. I forced my eyes to focus. Through the blur, through the harsh ICU lights. I saw him, my dad, Richard Carter, 48, standing calmly beside my bed, not panicking, not calling my name, not even looking at me, just signing something. There, he said quietly. Like this was routine. Like I wasn't actively dying 3 feet away from him. My heart started racing, at least I think it did. The monitor certainly thought so. Why is he signing anything right now? A nurse rushed past him, bumping his arm slightly. He barely reacted. Sir, you need to step back. I'm discharging her, he replied flatly. Discharging. The word didn't process at first. Discharging? From the ICU? While my heart was... The monitor dipped again. A long, dragging tone threatened to flatten. Get Dr. Patel now. Everything sped up. Except him. He didn't even look up. Not once. Let me ask you something. If your child was dying in front of you, would you even be capable of holding a pen steady? Because his hand didn't shake. Not even a little. That's when the fear changed. It wasn't just fear of dying anymore. It was something colder. Something sharper. Something that whispered, something is wrong. And then a memory hit me. 2 nights ago, his voice on the phone, low, urgent. I told you, it's being handled. Silence. Then, quieter. No, she won't be a problem. At the time, I thought he meant hospital bills. Insurance, something normal. Now, lying there, unable to move, hearing that pen scratch across paper, it didn't feel normal anymore. It felt like a countdown. The line on the monitor dipped again. Lower this time. A nurse's voice cracked. She's not stabilizing. My vision flickered. Darkness creeping in at the edges. And still, my dad just stood there. Calm. Detached. Finished signing. He placed the paper down neatly. Straightened it. Like presentation mattered. Like this was the important part. Not me. Not the machines keeping me alive. Just the paperwork. Footsteps thundered toward the room. Fast, urgent, different from the chaos already inside. Someone new, someone in control, the ICU doctor. Dr. Aaron Patel. He pushed through the door, eyes scanning everything in seconds. The monitor, the nurses, me, and then the paper. He picked it up. Just a glance. That's all it took. His expression didn't panic. It didn't soften. It didn't match the chaos in the room at all. It changed into something else. Something precise. Measured. Wrong. His eyes paused on the signature. Then slowly, he looked up at my dad. Not rushed. Not emotional. Just focused. He took one step closer. The room seemed to hold its breath. And then he asked, "What name did you sign this under? What name did you sign this under?" The question didn't fit the moment. Not with alarms blaring. Not with nurses rushing. Not with my heart threatening to stop right in front of them. And yet, that was the question. Not what happened to her. Not why is she crashing. But What name did you sign? Why would that matter? Unless something about it was wrong. My dad didn't answer immediately. And that more than anything made the room feel different. Have you ever noticed how a single second can stretch? How silence can get heavy? That's what it felt like. A pause that didn't belong. Because my dad, he wasn't the kind of person who hesitated. Ever. He was precise, controlled, always 2 steps ahead in conversations. But now, there it was. A flicker. Small, almost invisible, but real. I signed as her father, he said finally. Calm, even, too even. Dr. Patel didn't look back at the paper. His eyes stayed locked on him. That's not what I asked. Another beat. The monitor spiked again. My chest felt tight, like something inside me was squeezing harder, faster, wrong. A nurse adjusted something near my IV. Come on, she whispered under her breath. But Dr. Patel didn't move, didn't rush, didn't react to the chaos the way everyone else was. Because whatever he saw on that paper, it mattered more. Let that sink in. Something on that form was more urgent than a patient actively crashing. My vision blurred again. I tried again to move, to make a sound, to do anything. Nothing. I was trapped inside my own body, watching something I didn't understand unfold. Your name, Dr. Patel said again, slower this time, the one you wrote. My dad exhaled through his nose. A small, controlled breath. Like he was being inconvenienced. Richard Carter, he replied. That should have ended it. That is his name. So why? Why didn't Dr. Patel nod? Why didn't he hand the paper back? Why didn't this just stop? Instead, he tilted his head slightly, and for the first time, there was something unmistakable in his expression. Not confusion, not concern, recognition. The kind that clicks into place when something you suspected becomes real. He lowered the paper just a fraction. Can you confirm her date of birth? He asked. Simple question. Basic. Any parent would answer instantly. And my dad did answer. But this time, I heard it. The difference. A fraction too slow. A fraction too careful. He said the right numbers, but it didn't feel right. Do you know what I mean? When something sounds correct, but still feels off, Dr. Patel did too, because his eyes sharpened. Just slightly. And then, without looking away, he spoke to the nurse beside him. Quiet, controlled. Kelly, could you step outside for a moment? The nurse froze. Just for a second, then nodded. And left, not rushed. Not panicked, but purposeful. And suddenly, the room felt smaller, tighter, like the air itself had changed. My heart monitor spiked again, faster now, erratic, unstable. But no one said crashing this time, because the emergency was no longer just me. Dr. Patel stepped closer, close enough now that there was no distance between him and my dad, no space for misunderstanding, only confrontation. He lifted the paper slightly, eyes still locked on him, and asked, Can you show me your ID? Can you show me your ID? That was the moment everything shifted. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly, like a crack forming under the surface. Because up until then, you could still explain it away, right? A misunderstanding, a paperwork issue, bad timing. But this wasn't medical anymore. This was something else. And I felt it. Even trapped in my own body, I felt it. My name is Lena Carter. I'm 19 years old. 2 days ago, my biggest problem was a midterm I hadn't studied for. Now, I was lying in an ICU bed, listening to a doctor question whether the man standing beside me was actually my father. How does your life flip that fast? It started so normally, or at least, it felt normal. I collapsed during class. No warning. No build-up. Just a sudden, crushing pressure in my chest and then nothing. When I woke up, I was already here. machines, wires, that constant beeping. They told me it was my heart, but not in a way that made sense. Unstable rhythm, unclear cause, still investigating. Every answer led to more questions. And then there was my dad. He showed up within hours, which was unusual. Not because he didn't care, but because he was always distant. Present, but not involved. The kind of parent who made sure bills were paid, food was on the table, but conversations, rare. Emotions, even rarer. So when he walked into my hospital room that first night, something already felt different. He stood at the foot of the bed, not rushing over, not panicking, just observing. Like he was assessing a situation. "You're stable?" he asked. Not, "Are you okay?" Not, "How do you feel?" Just, "You're stable?" I remember nodding weakly, and he nodded back. Like that was enough. At the time, I told myself it was just how he was. Practical. Detached. That's what I'd always known. But looking back now, there were cracks. Small ones, easy to ignore, until they weren't. The next morning, he started asking questions. Not about me. About the hospital. How long do they usually keep patients like this? What determines discharge? Who signs off on it? At first, it sounded like concern. Like he wanted me out of there as soon as possible. But the way he asked, it wasn't emotional. It was strategic. Measured. Like he was gathering information. And then there was the paperwork. Just routine stuff, he said, handing me a clipboard. Insurance forms. Consent forms. Standard hospital documents. Or at least, that's what I assumed. I didn't read them carefully. Why would I? I trusted him. I signed where he pointed. Every line, every page, without thinking. Now, lying here, unable to move, that memory hit differently. What did I sign? What did I give him? The nurses noticed things too. I could tell, not directly. They never said anything outright, but there were looks. Quick glances. Subtle hesitations when he spoke. Like they were trying to stay professional while something didn't sit right. Nurse Kelly especially. She was the one who stayed with me the most. Mid, 3-0S, calm, observant. The kind of person who noticed details other people missed. Once, when my dad stepped out of the room, she leaned in slightly. "Hey, if you ever feel uncomfortable with anything, you can tell us, okay?" I remember being confused. Uncomfortable? With decisions, paperwork, visitors, anything. I almost laughed. It's just my dad. She held my gaze for a second longer than necessary, then nodded. Right, of course. But something in her expression didn't match her words. And then there was yesterday. The conversation, the one I couldn't stop replaying now. I had woken up in the middle of the night. The room was dark except for the soft glow of machines. And my dad, he was on the phone, standing near the window, speaking quietly. "I told you, it's being handled." Pause. "No, she won't be a problem." Another pause. Longer this time. Then, "I'll take care of it before discharge." Before discharge. That phrase again. It didn't mean anything to me then. But now it felt like a warning I missed. Back in the present, Dr. Patel stood in front of him, waiting. Hand still slightly extended. "Your ID," he repeated. Simple request. Easy. Routine. Unless you couldn't provide it. My dad didn't move right away. And there it was again. That hesitation. Small, but impossible to ignore once you saw it. He reached into his jacket slowly. Too slowly. Pulled out his wallet. Opened it. Paused. Then finally, he handed over a card. Dr. Patel took it without breaking eye contact. Didn't rush to look down. Didn't react immediately. Just held it for a second, like he already knew what he was about to see. Behind him, I heard movement. More footsteps in the hallway. Quieter this time. Controlled. Not panic, not urgency. Something coordinated. Something planned. Dr. Patel finally glanced at the ID. His eyes scanned it once, twice, then a third time, longer, more deliberate. The monitor beside me spiked again. Fast, unsteady, like my body knew before my mind did. Something was about to break. Dr. Patel lowered the ID slowly, held it next to the discharge form, comparing not just casually, carefully, precisely. Then he looked up, straight at him, and said, "Sir, this doesn't match our records." And just like that, everything stopped pretending to be normal. My dad didn't answer, didn't argue, didn't correct him. He just stood there, still, silent. And for the first time since this started, I felt it clearly. Not confusion, not fear, but something much worse. Doubt. Because the question wasn't, what is he doing anymore? It was, who is he? And then, from the doorway, a second voice spoke, firm, official. "Sir, we're going to need you to step away from the patient. Sir, we're going to need you to step away from the patient." That voice didn't belong to a nurse. It wasn't rushed. It wasn't panicked. It was controlled. Authority without volume. And the second it entered the room, everything changed. Have you ever felt a situation flip without anything physical happening? No alarms, no shouting. Just a shift in tone and suddenly, this isn't normal anymore. My heart monitor was still racing. Fast, uneven, but now there was something else competing with it. Footsteps. 2 more people entered. Hospital administration. Not doctors. Not nurses. People who didn't show up unless something had gone very wrong. "Is there a problem?" the man beside my bed, my father asked. But even as he said it, it sounded off. Too neutral. Too practiced. Dr. Patel didn't raise his voice. Didn't escalate. He simply held up the ID. "This doesn't match the patient's legal guardian records," he said. Simple. Direct. No room to twist it. The man's jaw tightened. Just slightly. "You must be mistaken," he replied. Still calm, but there was something underneath it now. A thread of tension pulling tight. Behind Dr. Patel, Nurse Kelly had returned. She didn't come alone, and she didn't look at me this time. Her eyes were locked on him, watching, carefully. "Can you confirm your relationship to the patient?" Dr. Patel asked. Again, slow, deliberate, like he was giving him every chance to explain. "I already told you," he said, sharper now. "I'm her father." Lying there, unable to move, I felt something twist inside me. Because I wanted that to be true. I needed it to be true. But the room, the tension, the way everyone was looking at him, it didn't match. "Then you won't mind answering a few more questions," Dr. Patel continued. "No aggression, just pressure. The kind that builds quietly." The man exhaled. A controlled breath. "Make it quick." Dr. Patel nodded slightly. Then, "What's her middle name?" Easy. Basic. Something automatic. Something no real parent would ever get wrong. There was a pause. Not long, but long enough. "Marie," he said. Wrong. I felt it instantly, like a jolt through my chest. Not Marie. Not even close. My heart monitor spiked violently. The machine reacted before anyone else did. Her heart rate, a nurse started. But Dr. Patel didn't break eye contact. Didn't move. Didn't let the moment slip. "Interesting," he said quietly. "Then, what was her diagnosis when she was 8? Silence. The man's expression didn't collapse. Didn't panic. But something slipped. A fraction. A crack in the surface. "I don't see how that's relevant," he replied. And there it was. Not an answer. A deflection. Dr. Patel lowered the ID slightly. Tilted his head. Studying him. It's very relevant, he said, because according to her medical history, that's the first time she was hospitalized. Another pause. Longer this time. He didn't answer. Because he couldn't. The room felt tighter. Smaller. Like the walls were closing in around him. Behind them, one of the administrators spoke quietly into a radio. Security to ICU, please. Security. That word landed heavy. Final. The man heard it too. Of course he did. His eyes flicked just briefly toward the door, calculating. And then he changed. Not dramatically, not in some obvious way, but subtly. The calm shifted, turned colder, sharper. You're wasting time, he said. She needs to be discharged. Discharged. Again. That word pushed harder now, more urgent. And suddenly, it clicked. Not fully. Not everything. But enough. He wasn't here to help me. He wasn't here to take me home. He was trying to get me out of here. Why? My vision blurred again. The edges darkening. My chest tightened. Something inside me felt wrong. Worse than before. Doctor, her vitals are dropping again, Nurse Kelly said. This time, urgency broke through. Real urgency. Dr. Patel moved, but not away from him. Not yet. Instead, he handed the ID to the administrator. Run this, he said quietly. Then, to the man. Until we verify your identity, you are not authorized to make medical decisions for this patient. That landed. Hard. You don't have the authority to... I do, Dr. Patel interrupted. Calm. Firm. Unshakable. The monitor beside me let out a sharp, rapid sequence. Faster. More erratic. She's destabilizing, another nurse called. Now finally, Dr. Patel turned toward me. Prepare intervention, he said. But even as the team moved, even as hands rushed to adjust lines, check readings, stabilize, half the room stayed focused on him. Watching, waiting. Because something bigger than my condition was unfolding. Something dangerous. The man took a small step back, not fleeing, not resisting, just repositioning. And then he smiled. Not wide, not obvious. But there, a faint curve, cold, controlled. And he said something that made my blood run cold. You should really focus on your patient, doctor. Not concern. Not fear. A warning. The administrator looked up from the ID. Face tightening. Doctor, he said quietly. Dr. Patel turned. Yeah? A beat. Then, this name doesn't exist in the state registry. Silence. Heavy. Absolute. And in that silence, the truth finally started to take shape. The man standing beside my bed wasn't just lying. He wasn't supposed to exist at all. This name doesn't exist in the state registry. Silence. Not the quiet kind. The heavy kind. The kind that presses down on your chest and makes everything feel slower. Even the machines. Even the air. Even my heartbeat, though, the monitor insisted it was doing the opposite. Have you ever realized something so big, your brain refuses to process it at first? That's where I was. Because there are only so many explanations, right? Clerical error. System glitch. Wrong database. Anything but. The man standing next to me isn't real. Dr. Patel didn't react immediately. That was the scariest part. No shock. No confusion. Just confirmation. Like this wasn't a surprise. Like this was exactly what he expected. All right, he said quietly. And then everything started moving at once. Security is on the way, the administrator added. Nurse Kelly stepped closer to my bed, her focus snapping fully back to me. Stay with me, Lena. Stay with me, okay? Her voice was steady, but I could hear it underneath. The tension, the urgency. My vision flickered again, dark at the edges, the world narrowing, but I wasn't focused on that. Not anymore. I was focused on him, because he wasn't panicking. Not even a little. Think about that. If you were just accused of not existing, of having a fake identity, wouldn't you react? Wouldn't you argue? Defend yourself? Get angry? He didn't. He just stood there, watching, calculating, and then he sighed. Not dramatically, not loudly, just a quiet exhale, like someone mildly inconvenienced. "This is getting complicated," he said. Complicated. That was the word he chose. Not wrong. Not confused. Not a mistake. Complicated. Dr. Patel stepped slightly to the side, positioning himself between him and my bed. Subtle, but intentional. "You're going to stay right there," he said. And for a moment, it looked like he might argue, but instead, he tilted his head, studied Dr. Patel, then smiled again. That same small, controlled smile. "You figured it out faster than I expected," he said. The room froze. What? My heart monitor spiked violently. A jagged, chaotic rhythm. "You're not helping yourself," the administrator snapped. But Dr. Patel didn't interrupt, didn't rush, didn't escalate. He just asked, "Who are you?" And just like that, we were no longer pretending. The man glanced around the room, at the nurses, at the equipment, at me, and then he reached up, slowly, deliberately, and adjusted his sleeve. Such a small movement, but it felt loaded, like everything was about to change. "You already know I'm not her father," he said. Not denial, not deflection, admission. My chest tightened, a sharp, burning pressure. The monitor screamed in response. "She's crashing again," someone shouted. Hands moved fast, too fast to follow. But even in that chaos, no one looked away from him completely. Because now, he wasn't just suspicious. He was dangerous. "Why are you here?" Dr. Patel asked. Still calm, still controlled. And that seemed to amuse him. "You're asking the wrong question," he said. Another step back. Measured. Not rushed. "You should be asking," he continued, glancing at me, "what's already been done." A chill ran through me. Deep. Instinctive. What does that mean? My breathing felt shallow. Too shallow. Nurse Kelly's voice cut through. Her oxygen's dropping. "Push fluids. Now," Dr. Patel ordered. But his eyes, they flicked back to him. Just for a second. Because he understood this wasn't just about identity anymore. This was about timing. "What did you do?" Dr. Patel asked. And for the first time, the smile faded. Not completely, but enough. He looked at me, really looked, and there was something in his expression now. Not emotion, not empathy. Assessment, like I wasn't a person, like I was a result. "Nothing you can prove," he said. The words landed cold, precise. Behind him, footsteps. Heavy, fast. Security. 2 officers entered, positioned instantly. "Sir, you need to come with us." The moment had arrived. The one where this ends. Where he gets taken away. Where everything stops. Right? He didn't resist. Didn't argue. Didn't run. He simply raised his hands slightly. Calm. Compliant. But before they could reach him, he said one more thing. Quiet. Clear. "You're already too late." The room went still again. And then the monitor beside me dropped. Not spiked. Not raced. Dropped. A long, dragging sound filled the air. Flat. "No, she's losing pulse!" Everything exploded into motion. And as the last thing before my vision went completely dark, I saw him being escorted out. Still calm. Still composed. Still watching. Like this was exactly how it was supposed to go. Flatline. That sound, it doesn't just fill a room. It erases everything else. No more overlapping voices. No more layered tension. Just one long, uninterrupted tone. And then, start compressions now. The world didn't fade out gently. It snapped. Like a switch being flipped. 1 second, I was there aware, listening, trapped. The next, nothing. But here's the thing people don't tell you. When your body shuts down, your mind doesn't always go with it. There was no peaceful darkness, no silence, just fragments, voices, pressure, pulling, charging clear. A violent jolt ripped through me. Not pain exactly. More like being yanked back from somewhere I wasn't ready to leave. Again, clear. Another surge. Come on, Lena, come on. Nurse Kelly's voice. Closer now. Desperate, but controlled. And then the beeping came back. Irregular, weak. But there, pulse is back. The room inhaled as one. But no one relaxed. Because this wasn't over, not even close. My awareness crept back slowly, like surfacing through thick water. Heavy, disoriented. I still couldn't move, still couldn't speak. But I could hear again, vitals unstable, we're not out of this. Dr. Patel, focused, fast, now. The calm had shifted, not gone, but sharpened into urgency. What did he mean? One of the nurses asked. No one answered immediately. Because they all knew, or at least they all suspected. Run talk screens, Dr. Patel said suddenly. That word cut through everything. Toxicology. Poison. Even in my foggy state. That landed. Full panel, he continued. Everything. Doctor, the administrator hesitated. You really think... I think, Dr. Patel interrupted, that a man just impersonated her legal guardian, tried to remove her from critical care, and said we're too late. A beat. Then, I don't believe in coincidences like that. Neither did anyone else. The room shifted again, this time, into something colder. More focused. Blood sample now. Hands moved quickly. Precise. No wasted motion. I felt something at my arm. A sharp pressure. A vial filling. And through it all, one thought kept repeating in my mind. What did I sign? Because suddenly, that memory wasn't just uncomfortable. It was dangerous. Flash. The clipboard. His voice. Just routine. Flash. The phone call. She won't be a problem. Flash. The word. Discharge. It wasn't about taking me home. It was about taking me out. Her BP is dropping again. Stabilize her. Keep her with us. Dr. Patel's voice cut through every rising panic. But underneath it, there was something else now. Anger. Controlled. Buried. But there, minutes passed. Or seconds. I couldn't tell anymore. Time didn't feel real. Until the door opened again. Different footsteps this time. Heavier. Measured. Suspect is secured, a voice said. Security. He's not talking, another added. Of course he wasn't. Police are on their way. Good. That should have made things better. Safer. But it didn't. Because of what he said. You're already too late. Doctor labs are coming in. The room stilled again. This was it. The answer. What do we have? Dr. Patel asked. A pause. Too long. And then, this isn't normal. My heart stuttered. The monitor echoed it. Define not normal, Dr. Patel said. Another pause. Papers shifting. Screens adjusting. There are compounds here that shouldn't be present. Silence. Could it be medication interaction? Someone asked quickly. No, the voice replied. This isn't from anything we administered. A beat. Then, it looks introduced. Introduced. Not accidental. Not natural. Deliberate. The word hung in the air. Heavy. Unavoidable. Dr. Patel didn't react right away. But when he did, his voice dropped. Lower. Colder. Can you identify it? Working on it. Another pause. Typing. Scrolling. Analysis. And then, yes, the room leaned in. It's a compound that interferes with cardiac electrical activity. Everything inside me went cold. It destabilizes rhythm, causes progressive failure. That's exactly what was happening to me. Timeline? Dr. Patel asked. It's slow acting, the technician replied. Builds over time with repeated exposure. Repeated. Exposure? My mind snapped to one thing. Him. Every visit. Every moment he was alone with me. Every time no one was watching. Doctor. Nurse Kelly's voice was quieter now. Tighter. Yes? This didn't just happen today. No, it didn't. It had been happening. Right in front of us. Hidden. Controlled. Planned. Dr. Patel looked at me. Really looked. And for the first time, there was something in his eyes I hadn't seen before. Not just urgency. Understanding. And something heavier. This was intentional, he said. No one argued. No one questioned it. Because deep down, they already knew. And then, the final confirmation came. Doctor, the technician said quietly. Yes? It's consistent with poisoning. The word landed like a final blow. Clear, unavoidable. Poisoning. Not illness. Not mystery. Not bad luck. Someone had been doing this to me. And suddenly, everything made sense. The impersonation. The discharge. The urgency. He wasn't trying to take me home. He was trying to take me somewhere no one could stop what was already in motion. My heart monitor trembled again. Weak. Unstable. But still fighting. And in the middle of it all, one question rose above everything else. If he wasn't my father, where was my real dad? If he wasn't my father, where was my real dad? That question didn't just sit in my mind. It echoed, louder than the machines, sharper than the fear, heavier than the word poison still hanging in the air. Because think about it. Someone didn't just walk into a hospital and pretend to be my father. That doesn't happen by accident. That takes access, timing, planning, which means this didn't start here. Call it in, doctor, Patel said. His voice was steady again, but different now. More decisive. More dangerous. It's already been reported, the administrator replied. Police are on site. Good, Dr. Patel said, because this just escalated. Escalated? Like it wasn't already at the worst possible level. Nurse Kelly stayed close to me, adjusting lines, monitoring everything. But I could feel it, even without seeing her face clearly. She was shaken. Stay with me, Lena, she said again, softer this time. I wanted to answer, to tell her I was trying, that I was still here, but my body still wouldn't listen. Doctor, another voice called from the doorway. Different tone. Official. The suspect is in custody. That word again. Suspect. Not father. Not guardian. Just suspect. Has he said anything? Dr. Patel asked. A pause. Then he asked for a lawyer. Of course he did. But then the officer hesitated. There's something else. The room shifted again. What? Dr. Patel asked. He gave a name. A beat. But it's not the one on the ID. Of course it wasn't. What name? The administrator asked. The officer glanced down at his notes. Then back up. Daniel Voss. The name meant nothing to me. No recognition. No memory. But the reaction in the room? Immediate. The administrator's face tightened. You're sure? He asked. The officer nodded. Yes. Silence. Heavy. Who is that? One of the nurses whispered. The administrator exhaled slowly. That name's been flagged before. A chill ran through me. Flagged? Dr. Patel repeated. The administrator nodded. Financial fraud, identity manipulation, high-level cases. Every word made things worse. He specializes in infiltration, he continued, getting close, replacing access points. Replacing... The word hit harder than anything else. Replacing, not pretending, not mimicking. Replacing, my chest tightened again. The monitor reacted instantly. Because if he replaced my father, then where? Do we have any confirmation on the real Richard Carter? Dr. Patel asked. That question cut straight through everything. Finally, the question that mattered. The officer hesitated. And that hesitation? It was the worst one yet. We're working on it, he said. Working on it. Not he's safe. Not we found him. Not he's okay. Just working on it. My heart stuttered again. No. This couldn't. Check nearby hospitals, Dr. Patel said immediately. Clinics. Any recent admissions under his name? We already started, the officer replied. Then expand it, Dr. Patel snapped. Now. The urgency had changed. Before, it was about saving me. Now, it was bigger. Because if Daniel Voss was here, then my father wasn't. And that meant something had already happened. Doctor, her levels are fluctuating again. Back to me. Back to the immediate danger. But now, everything was connected. The poisoning. The impersonation. The missing father. This wasn't random. This was a plan. Keep her stable, Dr. Patel said. We're not losing her. Not losing. The words grounded something inside me. For the first time since this started, there was certainty. Not confusion. Not doubt. But direction. They knew what was happening now. And they were fighting it. Minutes passed, or maybe longer. Time still didn't feel real. Until the door opened again. Fast this time. Urgent. The same officer, but different expression. Tighter. We found him. Everything stopped. Even the machines seemed quieter for a second. Dr. Patel stepped forward. Where? The officer swallowed. Private clinic. About 20 minutes from here. A beat. He was admitted 3 days ago. 3 days. That's when I collapsed. My chest tightened again. Condition? Dr. Patel asked. The officer hesitated. Then, unconscious. The word hit like a shockwave. But alive? He added quickly. Alive. Relief. Sharp. Sudden. But it didn't last. Because the next words, he was sedated. Sedated. Not injured. Not sick. Sedated. My mind connected it instantly. Taken. Removed. Replaced. The timeline snapped into place. 3 days ago, my father disappears. I collapse. This man appears. And everything since then? Controlled. Planned. Executed. Dr. Patel's expression hardened. Get me details on that clinic, he said. Now. But I barely heard the rest. Because one realization had taken over everything else. This wasn't just about money. This wasn't just about access. This wasn't just about removing me from the hospital. This was about finishing something that had already started. Something that was still happening. Inside me. And suddenly, his words came back. Clearer than ever. You're already too late. My heart monitor trembled again. Weak. Unsteady. Because the question wasn't just what he did anymore. It was, how far had he already gone? How far had he already gone? That question didn't just sit there. It tightened everything. The room, the voices, the air in my lungs. Because now we weren't guessing anymore. We had pieces. Real ones. A missing father. A replacement. Poison in my bloodstream. This wasn't chaos. This was structure. Patch me through to that clinic, Dr. Patel said. His voice had changed again. Less reactive. More surgical. He wasn't chasing answers anymore. He was assembling them. Lines open, the administrator said, handing him a phone. Dr. Patel turned slightly away, but not enough to leave the room. Not enough to take his attention off me. This is Dr. Aaron Patel from Street Vincent ICU, he said. I need immediate details on a patient, Richard Carter. A pause. Then, yes, I'll hold. The seconds stretched. Behind him, the room stayed in motion. IV adjustments, monitor checks, low voices exchanging numbers and updates. But everything felt focused. Like all roads were leading to one place. The truth. Doctor compound analysis is complete, the technician called out. Dr. Patel didn't turn yet. Say it. It's confirmed. Repeated low-dose exposure over at least 48 to 72 hours. That timeline again. 3 days. Exactly when my father disappeared. Delivery method? Dr. Patel asked. Most likely IV contamination or oral introduction, the technician replied. IV. My arm? The line. Access. My thoughts snapped back. Every time he stood near me. Every time a nurse stepped out. Every time I was alone. He didn't need force. He didn't need noise. Just opportunity. Doctor, the voice on the phone finally responded. Dr. Patel turned slightly. Yes. Another pause. Listening. Processing. And then his expression shifted. Not surprise. Not shock. Confirmation. Understood, he said quietly. He lowered the phone slowly. Everyone in the room felt it. What? The administrator asked. Dr. Patel didn't answer immediately. He looked at me, not as a patient, not just as a case, but as the center of something much bigger. They confirmed, he said finally. A beat. Richard Carter was admitted unconscious, sedated with a controlled agent. Silence. He didn't check himself in, he continued. No record of voluntary admission. Of course not. He was brought in by a third party. The words landed hard. A man matching the suspect's description. There it was. No more gaps. No more maybes. Just truth. He signed the intake paperwork, Dr. Patel added. Of course he did. Same pattern. Same method. Control the identity. Control the access. Condition? Nurse Kelly asked quietly. Stable, Dr. Patel replied. Still unconscious, but expected to recover. Relief flickered through the room. But it didn't last. Because that wasn't the end of it. That was just the beginning. He replaced him, the administrator said under his breath. Not a question. A realization. Dr. Patel nodded once. Yes. Simple. Final. And suddenly, everything clicked into place. The questions from earlier. The paperwork. The urgency. The discharge. He needed her out of here, Nurse Kelly said. Not confusion anymore. Understanding. Dr. Patel turned back toward me. Yes, he said, because this is the one place he couldn't fully control. That hit harder than anything else. Because it meant, even here, I wasn't completely safe. He was accelerating it, the technician added. The dosage increased over time. Accelerating. Pushing it faster. Toward what? The answer came without anyone saying it. An end. He didn't want to wait, Dr. Patel said. And that's when the final piece fell into place. Financial records, the administrator said suddenly. Everyone looked at him. What about them? Dr. Patel asked. The administrator was already pulling up something on his tablet. Lena turned 19 last month, he said. Yes. And with that, her trust fund transferred fully into her control. My chest tightened. Money. Of course. But there's a clause, he continued. If she becomes incapacitated or... He stopped. Didn't need to finish. Everyone understood. It transfers to the next legal authority, Dr. Patel said. And who was that? The room answered silently. Whoever controlled her. Whoever was her guardian. Whoever could prove it or fake it. He wasn't just replacing access, Nurse Kelly whispered. No, Dr. Patel said. His voice was colder now. Sharper. He was positioning himself. For everything. The money, the control, the outcome. And if she died outside the hospital, the administrator added slowly. No investigation, Dr. Patel finished. Clean, quiet, perfect. The plan wasn't rushed. It was precise. Calculated and terrifyingly close to working. My heart monitor steadied slightly. Still weak, but holding because now they understood. Not just what was happening, but why. And that changed everything. Dr. Patel stepped closer to my bed. For the first time since this started, there was certainty in his voice. "We've got you," he said quietly. Not a guess. Not hope. A statement. And for the first time, I believed it. But even then, even as the truth settled into place, one final question lingered. If the plan was this detailed, this precise, then how close had it come to actually working? Dr. Patel answered it without realizing. If we hadn't stopped that discharge, he said, glancing toward the door. A pause. Then she wouldn't have survived the hour. She wouldn't have survived the hour. That sentence didn't echo. It landed. Heavy. Final. Unavoidable. An hour. That's all it would have taken. 60 minutes. If Dr. Patel had walked in just a little later, if that question hadn't been asked, if that signature hadn't looked slightly off, I wouldn't be here. Let that sink in. Because everything that followed, the questions, the suspicion, the interruption, it all started with something small. What name did you sign this under? A single detail, and it saved my life. The room was quieter now, not calm, but focused. The chaos had turned into control. Vitals are stabilizing, Nurse Kelly said. Her voice carried something new. Relief. Not complete. Not safe yet. But real. Dr. Patel nodded. Keep monitoring, no interruptions, no unsupervised access. No one questioned it. Because now, everyone understood the stakes. The door opened again. Police this time. 2 officers stepped inside, followed by a third. Different energy than before. This wasn't containment anymore. This was investigation. Doctor, one of them said, we need a statement. You'll get one, Dr. Patel replied, but not until she's stable. The officer nodded. Then, suspect is being processed. We've confirmed identity. The room stilled slightly. Daniel Voss, the administrator said. The officer nodded. Multiple warrants, financial crimes, identity fraud, and now attempted homicide. Attempted. The word hung there, because it wasn't finished. Not yet. He's not cooperating, the officer added. Of course he wasn't, but it didn't matter anymore. Because his plan, it was already broken. His devices are being analyzed, the officer continued. We'll trace everything. Contacts, transactions, movements. Every step. Every detail. Unraveling. Dr. Patel nodded once. Good. But his attention didn't stay there. It came back to me. Always back to me. Because even now, even after everything, the danger wasn't fully gone. Not until my body caught up. Not until whatever he'd done stopped. Continue detox protocol, Dr. Patel said. The team moved instantly. Fluids adjusted. Medications calibrated. Every variable controlled. This time, there was no guessing. Only action. Hours passed. Or maybe it was longer. Time blurred again. But this time, it felt different. Less like slipping away. More like being pulled back gradually, piece by piece. The darkness didn't close in anymore. It retreated. And with it, something else came back. Control. A twitch. Small, barely there, but real. My finger, it moved. Just a fraction, but enough. Wait. Nurse Kelly leaned in. Lena? I tried again. This time, stronger. My hand shifted slightly against the sheet. She's responding, Kelly said quickly. Dr. Patel was at my side instantly. Lena, can you hear me? Yes. I screamed it in my mind. Yes. Try to move your hand again. I did. Slow, heavy, but it moved. A little more this time. And just like that, everything changed. Because I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was coming back. She's regaining motor response, Kelly said. Relief broke through fully now. Not contained, not quiet. Real. Dr. Patel nodded. Good. Stay with us, Lena. You're through the worst of it. The worst. That word felt distant now. Like something behind me, not gone, but no longer in control. The room settled into a new rhythm. Not chaos. Not crisis. Recovery. And somewhere beyond all of that. Beyond the machines. Beyond the voices. The truth sat fully formed. The plan had failed. Completely. Not partially. Not almost. Completely. Because I was still here. And he wasn't. The last thing I heard before drifting into real sleep, not darkness, not fear, just quiet, was Dr. Patel's voice. Low. Certain. She's going to make it. And for the first time since this all began, there was no doubt. The first thing I noticed was the silence. Not the kind that feels empty. The kind that feels earned. No alarms. No shouting. No frantic footsteps. Just beep, beep, beep. Steady. Consistent. Alive. For a moment, I didn't open my eyes. I just listened. Because that sound, days ago, it meant something was wrong. Now, it meant I was still here. When I finally opened my eyes, the light was softer. Not the harsh ICU glare. A recovery room, different ceiling, different walls, same rhythm, and then a voice. Lena? I turned my head slowly. This time, my body listened, and there he was. My dad, not the version I had seen before, not the controlled, distant presence. This one looked real, tired, pale, a little unsteady, but real. Hey, he said quietly. That one word carried more than anything he'd said in years. I stared at him, studying every detail, every line, every expression, making sure, because now I knew the difference. You're okay, I managed. My voice was weak, barely there, but it was mine. He let out a breath, a shaky one. I should be saying that to you. There was a pause, not awkward, not empty, just full, because there was too much to process all at once. You were at another hospital, I said slowly. He nodded. They told me what happened. His jaw tightened slightly. I don't remember much, just waking up there, being told how long I'd been out. 3 days. 3 days where everything was taken. Replaced. And him? I asked. My dad's expression changed. Colder. He's not getting out, he said. And for once, there was no distance in his voice. Just certainty. Logical payoff. Everything came together over the next few days. Not all at once. But piece by piece, clear, precise. Daniel Voss wasn't random. He had been watching for months, tracking financial records, legal structures, opportunities. When my trust fund transferred fully into my control at 19, I became a target. Step 1. He removed my father. Drugged, transported, admitted under controlled sedation. Step 2. He took his place. Forged documents. Digital overrides. Temporary guardianship access. Enough to act. Not enough to hold up under scrutiny. Step 3. He accelerated my condition. Slow poisoning. Introduced gradually. Designed to mimic a medical mystery. Step 4. Discharge. Get me out of the hospital. Out of oversight. And then let it finish. Clean. Quiet. Unquestioned. Except he miscalculated one thing. Dr. Patel. And one detail. A name. Emotional payoff. It didn't hit me all at once. Not in the hospital. Not during recovery. But later, when things were quiet again, when I was alone, when the adrenaline was gone, that's when it came. The realization, how close it was, how easily it could have worked, how I trusted him, Signed papers. Didn't question anything. I remember sitting there, staring at my hands. The same hands that couldn't move before, now steady. And thinking, I almost disappeared without ever understanding why. That feeling, it stays. Not as fear, but as awareness, consequence payoff, critical. Daniel Voss was charged on multiple counts. Attempted murder, identity theft, fraud, kidnapping, financial conspiracy. The investigation expanded fast. He wasn't working alone. Contacts were identified. Accounts frozen. Every step of his plan was traced backward. Nothing stayed hidden for long. The hospital changed too. Policies rewritten. No single person authorization without multi-level verification. Identity confirmation protocols tightened. Staff trained differently. Because of what happened, it wouldn't happen again. Dr. Patel? He didn't make a big deal about it. Didn't act like a hero. But everyone knew. If he hadn't asked that one question, none of this would have stopped in time. Nurse Kelly still visited sometimes. Not as a nurse anymore, just to check in. Because some connections don't end when the machines do. And my dad? Something shifted. Not overnight. Not dramatically. But real. He stayed longer. Talked more. Like almost losing everything for something open. Not perfect, but different. Weeks later, I stood outside the hospital. No machines. No wires. No monitors. Just air. Real air. I took a breath. Deep. Steady. And for a second, I listened. Not for alarms. Not for urgency. Just silence. Then, footsteps beside me. My dad. You ready? He asked. I nodded. And as we walked, I realized something. That sound that once terrified me. The beeping. The dropping. The chaos. It wasn't what stayed with me. What stayed was the moment it stopped. The moment it steadied. The moment everything that was supposed to end didn't. I glanced back once. At the building. At everything that happened inside it. Then forward again. And this time, there was no fear. Just one simple, undeniable truth. I was still here.
If this happened to you, will you trust him or question everything sooner?